Hello and welcome. We've got a really cool video for you today. I sat down with Belinda Ligotino, who is the director of operations for a company in Nashville called AmpliFLY Entertainment. Basically, Belinda and her coworkers help create content for content creators. I think you're going to really enjoy this conversation, especially if you are an artist who is in charge of making your own content and trying to build your fan base, and even more so if you are working with artists and helping them create content to hopefully build a stronger community and fan base around what they do. I won't get too much into what we talk about right now because the video is coming up. Please feel free to leave any questions in the comments below. We'll happily answer them or reach out to Belinda if she has better answers than I would. And without further ado, please enjoy. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
For being here.
Of course.
Excellent. We're going to talk today about you.
Perfect.
And about your experiences working with content creators and making content for content creators. And I have a lot of questions for you. So the first thing I just want to know is give me and everybody watching kind of a little bit of background on how you got involved in making content for content creators.
Yeah, so I would say it started when I was in college. And growing up, I didn't have Wi-Fi in my house, so we read books, we played Wii, we watched DVDs and TV, and that was kind of it. But when I got to college, I had Wi-Fi, and I got obsessed with watching people who vlogged on YouTube. And not that they were doing anything interesting, it's just, every day, vlogs are obsessed. I just watched everyone doing vlogging their daily life, doing laundry, dishes, random stuff. Fell in love with that. So then when I started going out and doing interesting stuff, I started vlogging myself mainly on Snapchat. You know what that is?
I'm old enough to remember when Snapchat turned down, I believe it was Facebook at the time's acquisition bid. Facebook wanted to buy them for $3 billion and Snapchat said no. And everybody was like, maybe it was $4 billion. It was it was a lot of money. And everybody was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then, turns out they made the right call.
Well, why did they say no?
Because they believe they were worth more than that and that they could build and be bigger. And it's just imagine, because the founder at the time was also, I think, just a little bit older than me. It's I can't imagine turning down what is definitely $1 billion at least for him.
Yeah. That'll set you up for life. Jeez. But,
so yes, I know it's Snapchat.
I feel like no one really uses it anymore, but I still use it to this day. And I started, I think, in high school, and I just all the time.
You're just loyal. You're loyal to
loyal
what
Snapchatter.
brought you there. Yeah.
So yeah, I would just vlog, and I started off kind of as a joke at first, and now I still do it to this day. When I go on trips, everyone knows okay, I'm ready for Belinda's vlogs, and I have my followers, which are just my friends and family, pretty much. But they know.
But I think that's maybe what originally drove me away from Snapchat, because my content has always been focused on how does this help build a community that's not my friends and family.
Yeah. And mine is I'm just doing it for friends and fam at this point. But yeah, I had to do what I love about Snapchat now is that you can make certain stories that are just for close friends. So same with Instagram too. So, because obviously on Snapchat and even your Instagram, you have random people from high school or from whatever, and you're honestly, I don't want you giving your negative vibes toward my trip or me at the grocery store because I'm happy I found something great at Trader Joe's. So I do that now, and I only vlog to those specific channels. So
okay, so you do the hilarious college thing but instead of when people say oh, if they never drink before they get to college, they go crazy when they get to college, and but for you it was the internet apparently. Vlogging. Getting on the internet. So you're in college, you're making videos for yourself. You are thinking about being involved in the music industry. What?
Yeah, so I studied the music industry, whatever that means, in college. And it was interesting because during that time, content wasn't really obviously what it is now, but I mean, it was still really important. So we always had to do that for our artists. And I just love keeping memories and filming all the time. And so I've always just been used to that. And then I remember when TikTok became a thing, I didn't want to get on it. I was no, I'm not going to do it because I knew I was going to be obsessed with it. I was obsessed with, not Venmo, Vine. Obsessed with Venmo too, but Vine was my favorite. There was something called Keek back in the day. Yeah. I was obsessed.
I thought it was pronounced Kick. It's called Keek?
I just always called it Keek.
Okay.
But it might be Kick. But I feel all my friends called it Keek. Oh, let's make a Keek. And it was a 2-second video or something. Yeah, I don't know. But that was like the best. So I was like, I don't want to get obsessed with this anymore. So I'm not going to get it. The 2020, we all had to like go at home and do our work from home. And I was doing college from home as well. So I was like, I'm not getting it. And then eventually I caved in. After I graduated, started working, got a job where I'm now like working with artists all the time. So I'm like, dang, I need to get on TikTok. Got on, was obsessed with it, of course, learned it in like 2 seconds. And I like to make my own little TikToks every once in a while, but nothing crazy, just for like giggles. But yeah, that's kind of how it all like started. And then I got this job working with artists, and obviously creating content is the main focus of like all artists have to do nowadays. And we managed this one artist. His name's Ian McConnell. Love him. And he's kind of the one that like made me fall in love with the whole content creation part, mainly because I've seen like the success it could actually have, which I thought was so cool. Like when you're so dedicated to it.
So when you say success, you mean success just like how somebody can grow on a platform, or how that can translate to other things?
How it can translate to other things. So we would see like he would post a video, and originally he was just posting, and I feel like everyone was kind of doing this at first, just random things, funny things, like little songs that are not really his own music. And then we saw like when he would post his own stuff, sometimes it wouldn't do good. And then it's like, okay, sometimes it would do great. And you would see his Spotify streams go up, his Instagram followers go up, his YouTube followers go up, et cetera, et cetera. I just thought it was so cool, and how dedicated he was to it. And it was like a place where he can just be his kooky, crazy, like lovable self and post it online. And people also see that and love that too. And I thought it was just like a cool way for him to express himself. And that's what like most people do. But I saw it in like such a raw form where it's not like, oh, I have to do this. He's like doing it because he's good at it and he finds it fun and he likes to express himself in that way. So it's interesting because I that's how I learned it. So I'm like, everyone needs to be like that. And obviously we know not everyone loves it or is like that.
Yeah, definitely want to get into that in a second.
Yeah.
So you are now working with, kind of tell me a little bit about like the team, people that you're, not the people that you're working with shooting content for, but who you work with on that side, and then kind of what an average month is for y'all.
Yeah, so we have now switched to like this year we're mainly doing like content creation, and we're a small business, so that's just what happens is you kind of shift and you try to figure out like what do the people need at this point? And content creation is like something everyone needs. So we've been doing that for the past like 6 months ish. And so, yeah, basically like a typical day is we do maybe like 1 or 2 content shoots a week with artists that we have working with right now.
Same artists or different artists?
Different artists. So I think we have about 5 that we work with each month, and each artist is technically supposed to have like 2 content shoots with us each month.
Okay.
And each shoot is about 3 to 4 hours. Kind of goes around the 4-hour side, and that's just my coworker and I. Her name's Kayla. She's great. And
shout out
to Kayla. And it's just with our phones. Like we don't have anything crazy. It's not like a crazy camera. We're just shooting like with our iPhones. And yeah, that's basically
interesting. So you'd say right now you are spending about 8 hours a month per artist on creating all short form vertical video. What type of content are we? Yeah.
Yep. All short form, like video content. So TikTok, Reels, YouTube Shorts is like, we're trying to push that a lot right now.
Sure.
I mean, story, just kind of like anything that's short form vertical content. We don't really do any of the like horizontal. I think we're eventually going to go into that because long form is kind of shaping its way into people's lives again. But yeah, currently right now, all short form vertical content.
So you've got you and Kayla working with an artist. How much collaboration, and 2 times a month usually about 8 hours total. How much collaboration happens before that shoot day, both between you and Kayla, and then you and the artist? And I'll go even further. An artist, let's say, on their very first shoot with you, versus an artist that you've worked with for several months and are kind of in a groove with.
Yeah. So when you're working with an artist for the first time, that's when we have a lot more time with them. So currently what we tried to structure it as is we do like an intro, like get to know you kind of call, and just making sure like this is like what they want to do, kind of snatching our bait in there. So usually that's just like a quick one, like it is what it is. And then the second one is a get to know you call, and it's either like a call or Zoom, but we try to do it in person. But we technically do this with artists who don't live in Nashville as well. But since we live here, it's mainly Nashville artists, and there's artists up the wall here.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
they're all here. So yeah, we do that call, and that's usually about 2 hours or in person. And it's just like trying to break down the barriers, like learning everything we can about them. We call it like a branding session because this is what we used to do when we would bring on clients, like if we're working with them on the development/management side. So we just like try to learn every single thing about them, what they like, what they don't like, what they like to do for fun. Because normally when you're thinking of content, like they don't think about these little things that could be interesting. So we just try to snatch everything out of them. And then we take notes the whole time. We're like, ooh, this could be interesting. This is great content. We have all this stuff. So that's usually about 2 hours. And then we go into a brainstorm session, usually a few days or a week before we do an actual like content shoot. And that's like strictly to brainstorm what we're going to be doing on that shoot. And that's usually about an hour long.
How many artists do you feel are closer to the Ian side on the spectrum, where it's like they have an idea, they have a vision, and they just need help, the physical help of y'all executing and recording and giving feedback, versus people who are just like, I don't know, somebody told me this was important, so here I am?
Most of them are, someone told me this is important, and here I am, and you tell me what to do, basically. Eventually, I'm sure we'll get into this, is like the mindset shift where you have to get them to where like the Ian part is at.
That said, okay, but let's say you do have somebody who is so confident in the style of content that they like to make, but maybe you also know, after having done this a while, or being a consumer as well as a creator for others, like, okay, but we really need one of these, right? Like, to put it in specifics, if all the artist is doing is creating lip sync videos over their own songs or live performances over their own songs, are you sitting here going, okay, but like, you need to do some songs that people have heard, you need to do some cover stuff, or you need to do some where you're not actually performing, maybe focus on the music while doing a different task, like some people would make coffee while also singing or whatever. Like, are there things like that you just know it's like, we got to get this? Yeah,
that's kind of why people come to us from the start, and we like lay that down from the beginning, is that we're not going to just be recording you like sitting and playing your guitar, because I mean, you can do that on your own. So
yeah, exactly.
So the point of like working with us is that we're trying to like get more personality out of you, bringing more of you into your feed and gaining your fans, basically. So you want people to fall in love with you, so that regardless of you put out a good song, you put out a bad song, they're just still going to love you, come back, come to your shows. So we're trying to build that fan base that's strong and loves you. So it's not just about getting content out because we have to get content out. Like, you have to be like fully into it. So that's kind of what we started with at the beginning, is that this is to get more of you into your content. So it's not just like cut and dry, stale. Basically.
So basically what you're saying is that the music is not enough in this day and age. You also need to show who you are as a person, or if your entire artistry is a persona, right? There are plenty of artists who are one way as their artist and totally different the other, but it needs to be like the personality behind the music as well.
Yeah. And I'm finding that I feel like with a lot of pop music or like singer-songwriter stuff, a lot of them, they are what their music is. So it's a lot easier to like show your personality. For Ian, for example, you've met him. He's just kind of the same way online as he is in person, and his music is like the same thing. But when you're working with people who do different genres of music where traditionally there is more of that separation, it's a bit harder to get that out.
Interesting. So what do you think then is like the biggest roadblock when you take that to artists, right? When you've got the artist who said, somebody told me this was important and here I am. And then you're like, great, I need you to be more interesting, or I need you to be more of yourself in an interesting way. And then they're like, I'm just trying to get my music heard, man. And you're like, well, you hired us because we know. Yeah. And now you are resistant to that. Is that kind of something you see?
Yeah, we see that all the time. And I mean, honestly, when I'm creating my own content too, I'm also thinking the same way. And then the main thing I feel like people think about is, what are my friends going to think? What are my family going to think? Or this is so different than what I've been posting in the past. And I know this has done well in the past. And now I'm kind of switching it up. And just like, people are just so self-conscious about themselves too. And like, what if I'm not interesting enough, or I don't have anything interesting to say? You have something interesting to say always, regardless of what it is. Like, there's something interesting about you. People like you, obviously, in general. So there is something there. But I would say that's the major roadblock, is not wanting to look like a fool or wanting to look dumb. That is definitely a big one we hit all the time, especially with artists who are more experienced in the industry, who have been doing the normal industry stuff, like before content was like the thing you have to do.
Yeah.
They were used to playing shows or like radio tours or whatever. But now this is like the main way you're supposed to be marketing your music. And it's very hard to get out of that. I would say another hard thing is obviously on TikTok and all the platforms, there are millions of artists, I would say at this point. 80% of them maybe are not even that good, you know?
Sure.
Like, they're not Adele, they're not like Beyonce, like these name acts that we know now that have like pure talent. But at the end of the day, like, they're getting it done and they're doing something right.
Right.
So
the community is not looking for that from them, right? It's like when you are an artist, you often, especially early artists, they make two really big mistakes. One that we've talked before, which is your friends and your family are not your fans.
Yep.
Right.
100%.
And so being worried about what they think, while completely natural, is inconsequential.
Yeah.
Right? Whether your mom likes your song or not. In fact, I've seen some pretty compelling videos of people being like, playing the song for my dad. And whether it's real or not, I don't care, because it very clearly made the dad seem like, oh, why are you playing it? I don't like this, you know? But it doesn't matter, because that video also has hundreds of thousands of likes, and that song is going through the roof on the streaming platforms. So, you know, the one thing is just like, your friends and your family are not your fans.
Yeah.
But then the second kind of thing that people forget, I think, when they're looking at their content, is like, people watching it are always, I mean, be careful to say always, because there are a lot of trolls out there, but most people do not hear the flaws that you hear in yourself. They do not see the issues that you see in yourself. They are there because they want to they connect with something in you. Like, it's almost like, yes, we all are conceited. We all have to be a little bit like, I am the coolest thing you're going to see on the internet today.
Yes.
But also remember that they're not looking to see somebody cool. They're looking to connect with something.
And I think that's the whole point. Social media. People are trying to connect on this media platform. So I think that's definitely the main thing, like, everyone has to focus on, but it's so easy to not do that. But yeah, your friends and family are not your fans for sure. Yes, they may listen to your music and support you, but you have to get that out of your mind. Brooke Alex, I talk about her all the time because she's my coworker's best friend, but also she's so amazing at content. And something like she posted once, she was like, as soon as I like stopped like trying to think what I'm doing is corny or like mainly focus on that, as soon as I stopped doing that, my content started blowing up, or my stuff started like doing better, or regardless, life was just better after that. So that's something you just have to, your mantra, like, get it out of your mind, keep repeating, like, it's okay to just do what you got to do. You know,
I mean, one of my band's most popular songs currently is a song about how all of my friends suck, right? That's basically the concept of the song.
Yep.
Of course, it's hyperbole, and there's a lot more than that. And guess what? All of the people who are genuinely my friends and don't suck love that song. And they're like, this is a great song. They don't take it personally. You know, they're just like, yeah, it's cool. I get it. It's like, there is always going to be a level of honesty and a level of persona that if you embrace, you're going to, I think, get over that whole, I just want to play this very, straightforward love song that feels good, and I'm not going to upset anybody, or I'm not going to, worry about having to be too much myself. It's like, that's the only thing we really want to see is who you are.
I also find so much respect in people that are just like, every time I watch your videos and you're just doing something crazy, I'm like, you go. I get it. Because it's like, you're just having fun. You're doing what you got to do. People love it. And also some people just, they can't do that. So I feel like when they're watching other people who are doing that, they're like, great. Like, you know what? That's amazing.
You're doing great, sweetie.
So great, sweetie. But I think it makes them feel better that like, wow, like internally or like when I'm at home or whatever, I'm also like that same way, but I'm not going to do that online or at work. So when they see other people doing that, I feel like it just helps them in a way. It's like you're expressing for them in a way.
So what gets you excited then about like where we are in terms of like content creation and working with some of these people? Obviously, we all have humps we need to get over. Some can be very frustrating because it's like, I don't know, man, you hired me. What do you, you know, it's like going to the doctor and then being like, your cholesterol is high, eat more vegetables. And you're like, no. It's like, well, okay. So that will always be part of it. But what are the things that you see either on platform or some of the artists that you've been working with that are just like, oh yeah, this is exciting. Like, this is why I believe in this form of building a community, building a fan base.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, what gets me excited is when the artist has a bit of success online or a video, even if it gets like 2,000 views or something, like something happened, they're like, oh my gosh, wow. Like, okay. And I remember we working with this artist for almost a year before one of his videos popped off, and it got like, I remember like waking up the next day and it was a video I happened to edit as well. So I was very lit when I woke up in the morning. Cause half the time I like wake up in the morning, I'm like, dang, didn't do well.
Oh, so you post and then just like not look until the next day or like, what do you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
you're just
yeah.
like,
usually like I'll look like after an hour or something, see how it goes. But that I know like normally it takes an X amount of time before like something happens. Sometimes it's even like a whole day before something happens. So yeah, I think I'd posted that video at like 3:00 or something. Nothing happened. I was like, whatever, not going to look at it. Kind of forgot about it until the next morning. And I looked at it and had like 10,000 views. I was like, oh my gosh. And then as the day went on, just kept going up. And now it has like 100,000 views, which is not extremely crazy, but it is to someone who just, none of his videos had done well before at that point. So he was like, wow, like this is amazing. People were streaming his music, everything spiked up. Like, and I love reading, and this artist was like extremely like raw talent. He's a like Americana folk artist.
Cool.
And those artists just like get my heart because they just have this raw, like dark, beautiful music. And reading the comments and like seeing people who actually like connect to it and love it, and they're like, where have you been? I love those comments. Where have you been?
We all love them so much. Why are you not more famous?
I'm like, come on, man. They're like, why isn't this blown up? I'm like, yeah. We're asking that every day. And maybe it's like not good to like, that's what gets me excited. But what gets me excited is that now he sees how important it is. And even to this day, we don't work with him anymore, but it's been like a year, I think, since we've stopped working with him, or X amount of months or whatever. And he's posting all the time now. Yeah. All the time. And he's doing it on his own. Like, we're not doing it for him anymore.
And you probably like that too, right? It's like working with artists. It's, you can, to a degree, like you can work with somebody forever and keep helping them. But also part of this is the education of like, this is why it's important. And there's nothing more powerful when you are, you know, learning something than actually seeing it in practice.
Yes. That's like so exciting to me, and like the best part. And that's like what we want. We don't want to do this for them forever. Like, I mean, of course we would love the money for it forever, but at the end of the day,
you got plenty of other clients out there too. You know, it's like,
I want them to learn how to do it themselves, feel comfortable with it, take their phone out, whip it out whenever, and be able to just film content, post it, and do it. And it does well. Even if it doesn't well, at least you like did something. You know, you're trying and you're putting in effort, and people are seeing that.
Well, and you know, the first number you mentioned that was exciting was 2,000 views, right? Like, it's just like success to you as a creator is success to you. Yeah. Right. What do they say? Comparison is the thief of happiness, or the enemy of joy, or whatever, you know. It's like, getting 100,000 views and the love and the comments and everything, like everybody loves that. But sometimes it's just like, you know what? this video did still only get 200 or 300 views.
Yeah.
They got like 60 likes and like 10 saves. And you're like...
And comments or shares. Like, I mean, those are the ones that really matter the most.
Yeah.
It's people actually interacting, sharing it,
Somebody made a video with your sound or whatever, and it wasn't 5,000 people or whatever they say is like the minimum threshold to make. It's like, it was one person, but it's like one person took the time to do that. And you see those little bits of moments, those little...
And that's the person who may come to your show, buy your merch, bring a couple other people to the show. Like, that's what matters, not the 100,000 people that may have saw your video. Great. What happens then? Like, did they stream the song? Did they buy it? Are they coming? Did they join your Patreon account or your Bandcamp or something? Like, that's truly what matters. And if it's only 20 people, amazing. I'll take those 20 people any day than 100,000 views, you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we know what gets you excited, what you love to see, what motivates you. But has there ever been a time that you've been working with a client and you realize that like just something isn't working, whether it's a specific concept, a whole strategy, you rethinking even working with this person, like, okay, so yes is the answer. And then so how do you address it?
It's kind of like back to what we talked about before, like an artist who is like Ian, the person who helped me inspire like the love of content, who is just like a natural kind of at it and just like naturally has that personality, whatever. And then there's those other artists who kind of don't, and they're just doing it because they know they have to make content. It's such a total different mindset there that those at the second group, they're working with us and they're kind of expecting us to come up with all the answers, come up with the strategy, come up with XYZ. There's only so much like we can come up with, you know. We're also different people. Like, we're not you. We don't know your fans as well as you do. We don't know what you want to get across as well as you do. So a lot of times it takes a few shoots and sessions to even get to that point. So we recently like recorded with an artist and almost none of the content is being used. And we thought it was great content, but again, they're not comfortable with the situation, with the posting and with the content that we got, because they want to keep the content that they've been doing, which again is fine, but it just takes time. So it's all like a learning situation for all of us. But yeah, sometimes we'll be in a shoot and we're doing the ideas that we came up with in the brainstorm, which we're all cool with like at that point. But sometimes it takes like while you're in the session doing it and you're like, this just doesn't, this is not it. And so we're doing it, and I always try to keep like a sharp eye on the artist. And my coworker Kayla, she does a lot of the filming, mainly because like her phone is better than mine. She's also like more pickier with certain stuff. So I'm like, you know what, you probably best for you do it and I'll do like this side. So we kind of go back and forth. So yeah, we'll be in it, like she's filming them and I'm like trying to watch their face, like in those calm moments when we're just talking about something, or like right after we finish filming something, or right before we're about to finish something, or while we're talking about filming something. I'm watching their body language or like facial expressions. And I'm like, do you like this? And I try to immediately address it like at that moment and not let it like simmer in, because I would hate that at the end if they're like, oh, damn, honestly, I didn't think we got anything good. So yeah, right from that second where I see that they're like feeling a little off or like something, I try to say something immediately. Like, do you like this? Let us know. Like, it has to be, we have to have good communication. Otherwise it's just a waste of time for everyone. And that's my biggest like pet peeve. I cannot do wasting time. Yeah. Especially when it could have been fixed by like someone just saying something, because again, like this content is supposed to be for you and we're here to help you, and we can give our opinions and what we think you should be doing. But at the end of the day, it needs to come from you. So if you don't like, you know, sitting on top of the Eiffel Tower swinging around, but we think that's good content, but if you're not comfortable with it, then you have to say something, because when you're up on top of the Eiffel Tower and doing it, it's too late. Yeah. You know? I regret this.
But see, it's funny because like that kind of comes to the heart of why I think why it's so great to have somebody like you around, and you and Kayla around. Shout out to Kayla. Why it's so great to have y'all around to, you know, help film, because you are different people with different perspectives and different eyes, but you can also like bring that check in on somebody, right? Like, are you comfortable with this? And then hopefully in most cases, I would hope that the artist would talk it out, relent, understand why what you're doing is, you know, potentially really helpful, or it's just so low risk. You know, it's like the worst thing that could really happen with a piece of video content going out there that, you know, you are a little iffy about or whatever, is that nobody really sees it.
But I feel like that's like their worst fear is like, this video is not going to do well. It's like, okay, if it didn't do well, no one saw it.
Yeah, then what's
like,
the problem?
Exactly.
Like, you don't know, you know.
You're not going to crash and burn. It's like, it's not like you are actually going on a stage in front of millions of people and like shitting.
Yeah,
basically.
doing a song you've never done before and then being like, well, now everybody thinks I'm terrible.
Yeah.
It's like, no, nobody thinks anything about this specific video because nobody saw it.
Yeah.
You know.
But like, it's so hard to put that in your mind and like think about that separately.
Yeah.
When you're doing it.
And even if it does blow up and you don't really like it that much, but a lot of other people do, or it blows up, you know, this is another thing that I'm careful with, because like, it's the whole, like, there are trolls, like there are things that can get popular for the wrong reason. But ultimately what I have seen, both with people that I've worked with, people that I've interviewed, and just kind of as an observer of content, like ultimately trolls, the haters, the people who are there for maybe the wrong reason, like they go away. You know, you do need a little bit of thick skin, but that signal boost to that content brings in other people who love what you do, who defend what you do, who are more excited to be a part of what you do now because they feel like they're like, no, I love what this person does and I'm going to defend it. It's like those people stick around.
Yeah.
It's difficult emotionally to see some of that hate, to deal with some of what might, you know, come to you in a negative way, but it's so reinforcing to just have the few people who do stand up. It's human nature to be like, there's a herd of 10 elephants over there and 9 of them are chilling out, but that one elephant is running straight at me. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But on the internet, it's like, well, there are 10 people who, you know, 10 people over here, 9 people who love what you do. Don't focus on that one person. Like, they're not an elephant charging at you. They're just some troll. They're gonna go away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So even if it's 4 people who love what you do and 6 people who are being trolls, like, they're going to go away and you still just made those 4 fans.
And that's just something, again, a mantra. You have to keep saying it, because you're going to, let's say you get 4 comments on your video and one of them is some bullshit, you know? You're like, damn. And that's like the worst part. And you're just like, focus on that. But you just cannot. I mean, if you want to, you can take it as like constructive criticism, like depending on what it is. But I mean, you just have to keep moving forward, because who cares?
Yeah.
Like, sorry. That's why someone just sitting in their room, not caring, they're never going to try what you're trying. Like, at least you're out there, like, trying to do what you want to do, you know?
Well, I think it says a lot too, that like you've already, you know, if you're working with this artist, they're hesitant. You mentioned an artist who you filmed everything with, like, you've got their money, but you want them to post a thing because you want them to be successful.
Oh yeah.
You
That's like the most important part.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, sure. We had business. It's fine. But like, no, we believe in what we did with you. And we think that this is real. Like, we didn't just shoot it just to fill time. Like, please post it.
Yeah.
If you film something, please post it.
And that's what I'm kind of finding, is that like content is such an intimate thing. And you would think it's like, okay, these people are going to come in, they're going to film with me, and we're going to do it. And I'm like, yeah, we can do like 1 meeting here, 2 meetings here, and then we'll like film. But now I feel like they have to be super comfortable with us and we have to be comfortable with them. Like, in order for me to say like, do it different, or I don't think that was good, let's scratch that and like try it again, you know, or for them to be like, nah, this is not it. Versus them just being like, okay, I mean, I'll try it, and like they don't want to do it. And it's like, if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. Like, just be honest with us. Like, don't waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. I really want to ring that gong over there. I keep looking at it.
It's a pretty exciting, there's a gong off camera that,
I'm going to gong later.
Yeah, later. So how important is the location to you? Like, when you're working with an artist, are you always going to them? Are y'all meeting somewhere neutral? Do you have a spot that you love to work or rent out? Or
Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel like I need to find that one spot, because we don't have an office. So we meet at coffee shops or wherever, we work remotely. But for those like intro meetings or meetings where like we're getting to know them, I feel like I need that spot where like they're super comfortable, we're comfortable, and we can just like be honest and open with each other. But normally for the first couple shoots, we shoot at their house, if their house is like a good spot. And most of the time, like, it is a good spot, which is nice. I'm always like, I'm going to someone's house, I don't know what's happening. But they've all been like great so far, which is awesome. But that literally like usually helps them be a little more comfortable, and also shows them like, you have all these spots in your house where you can film content, and you don't need to be in a crazy studio. You don't need to have a great mic. You can film anywhere in your house. So that's also another reason why we do the first couple at their house, and that definitely really helps. But yeah, the vibe of where you're at could get good content, could not. And sometimes the house, it doesn't work. It depends on like the song too.
Sure.
Like we had this one artist and she had a really like emotional song and there's a lot of like words and it's like talky. That's perfect for your house. You can just be wherever, laying in your bed. I'm crying. I'm sad. I'm looking in the mirror, you know. But if you have like this like country song that's about like drinking and like bars and like ladies and all that jazz, when you're in your house, it may not.
The state of country music today. Yeah.
And it's like such fun songs, you know, they're great, but sometimes your house, like, you know, isn't the vibe. So we definitely have to like pick and choose like what songs we can do. But again, it takes like trial and error. Sometimes with a certain artist, like you can be singing about the crazy rockets and be in your house and you can make it great. But for some people, like it doesn't, you know, it doesn't work.
Okay. I'm going to put you on the spot just kind of here at the end. We've talked a little bit about, you know, TikTok in particular being in the news about whether or not it gets banned, like all of the different stuff we've talked also about. You mentioned to it a little bit earlier, like maybe long form is starting to come back. There's all this noise around content. All the noise around content creation, especially social media content creation that is intended to help build a community and a fan base and has for a lot of people been a really, really successful driver of new fans. Help put aside some fears. Let's say TikTok does go away, right? But what do you believe artists that you're working with, artists that you admire, artists that you've helped create content for, like, what do you believe that they have learned or can take forward, you know, regardless of the platform? What are some of the things that you feel like are not going to change, are rock solid, no matter what happens with all the other noise?
This is interesting because we just talked about this in our meeting the other day. Like, in case it does get banned, like, how are we preparing, like, our artists and everything? And I think we have been preparing them, like, from day one, because we don't focus on just the content and just what you have to post out. It's like you getting comfortable with doing this. What is your why? What is your what? Why are you doing this? Who are you doing it for? Like, what is the outcome after that? And those are the questions that always have to be like in your mind. And if you have those down in your core, we're getting real deep right now. If you have those down in your core,
if you really know yourself,
yes,
your TikToks.
It sounds corny,
flourish.
But
no,
literally, like, you'll be okay. And another thing I would say is, like, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So don't 100% focus on TikTok and getting things done on TikTok. There are 18 million other platforms where you can interact with people. I was learning from what you wrote about like Ultimate Guitar. They have short form content on there now where you can post your videos if you're a guitar player, or, you know, even if you're not, I don't know, just post there. Maybe it's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are all these other platforms where you can use. You don't have to, like, put all of your eggs in one basket. But yeah, that's the main thing. It's just knowing, like, who you are, what you're doing it, and why you're doing it. If you have those cores, you'll be able to switch up and move on to the next thing. But if you're just only focusing on, I gotta make content, and I gotta post it here, it's just nothing.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, we think about, like, MySpace came and went. It was huge for a lot of artists. There are a lot of artists who got their start on MySpace. Taylor Swift, who, you know, it's like, because they continue to make things regardless of the platform, and because they were resonating so strongly with their audience, like, things are going to come and go. Whether or not TikTok survives this round of criticism is kind of immaterial, because eventually it won't be here. Could be in a couple months, could be in 15 years.
Yeah.
But things are going to come and things are going to go. And what you said, I think, is something that if people take nothing else from this, is the most important thing, is knowing why you're doing it and what you are wanting to get across, what you are wanting people to connect with. Sometimes you might not know what is going to connect, but if you know that, like, the reason I'm making this content, yes, to get more people to listen to my music, to build fans, but it's because this is, you know, a song that I wrote that really helped me out when something really tough happened in my life, and I just think somebody else might like it.
Yeah.
Or I just really think we all need to take a break from being sad and just go to, whatever, a friend's place or a bar, whatever it is. Like, that's why I made this. So now I'm making this content to try and reach more people that way. And, what is going to be the way that I do it? Maybe it's going to be funny. Maybe it's going to be introspective. Maybe it's going to be really flashy at first.
Or you're going to try all of those things.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you don't know what's going to work. So you're just going to try it because like we said earlier, what's the risk?
What is the risk?
Yeah.
At this point, especially if like you haven't been posting like that much anyway, just post it. Like, we're all here to figure it out. And I mean, the algorithm seems to change like every day at this point.
How many people that you're working with were posting to YouTube Shorts before you started working with them?
It would be probably like a couple, but it would be like they would post
50%, 10%, 75%.
It's hard because when you ask me that, it's like, what does posting mean? Oh, I posted one video in the past year to YouTube Shorts.
Like, we're intentionally posting, or one thing that we've talked about before too, like cross posting. Yeah, taking the video that they made for TikTok because they heard they needed to be on TikTok. Yeah, and trying it other places.
Yeah, I would say 0.
Okay,
0.
And then Instagram Reels probably more.
Yeah. I think everyone kind of knew like posting on Instagram Reels and TikTok is like the main thing. YouTube Shorts, like we've been trying to drill that in, and sometimes people would post on them, but it would be like every now and then. Like, it's not like they're consistent. They're not putting that into their routine of posting. But now it seems to be like that's the case, which is great.
Cool. Well, excellent. Thank you so much for all of your wisdom and experience.
Yes, I'm glad I could give my wisdom. And my last thing, and I always love to say this, is we're just trying to all figure this out. Like, I'm not here to tell you exactly what to do because I don't even know exactly what you need to be doing. I'm here to help you and get it out of you, but we need to be a team here. Like, this needs to be a two-way street.
And also, if anybody tells you they know exactly what they're doing or what's going to work, run away. Nobody does.
We all have learned on TikTok. That's the only way to learn what to do and how you're doing it is you're swiping through and spending hours. I spend way too much time on TikTok, even to this day, but it's healthy. Yeah. I'm healthy. It's fine. But yeah, that's just the best way to learn is watching other people, but also creating and coming up with your own ideas for it is obviously.
You pick up ideas, you get closer to, you eliminate mistakes, you stop doing things that are just not helpful. Like, you learn things that are more likely to help you. Yeah. But nobody's sitting here going, if you do in the first 5 seconds, you do a bunch of motion and then you use 5 hashtags and then you include this amount of text. All those things could be helpful, but also there are people who set up a phone, spend 8 seconds doing something, and that is
get a record deal 2 days later. You just never know. You literally never know. Yeah. So that's why I would just post it. Just try it. If you're staying true to you and your content, if you're being true to yourself and you really love the content you're making and put good things out into the world, it really does help, and just get out of that. I want this to go viral. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're just trying to post and get our music further out there and share our wealth of beautiful sounds that come out of our brains and mouths.
If you connect with one person, that's one person more that you hadn't before. And if you don't connect with any new people, but the people who love you saw that and continue to love you more or whatever, I don't think you can lose. Yeah. I really don't think there's a way to straight up lose in this game. I think there's ways to win. There are ways to win big. And a lot of it just comes down to mindset, consistency, and, taking a healthy approach to it too. I definitely don't want anybody to sit there and feel like they're taking a mental health kick, to the head every time.
Yeah, literally, if that's the case, just take a chill. It's literally fine. You do not need to be posting every single day. They're going to come for me. They're going to come for me. But yeah, that's my big thing. If you can be consistent for 2 days a week to start, then be consistent 2 days a week if you're making quality, good content. You could probably take that video that you're posting twice a week and make it 4 videos at that point, you know? Just do what you got to do to move forward.
Totally. Well, there you go. Oh, did you want to hit the gong here?
I want to hit the gong.
Make sure that it makes, oh yes.
Why do you have this?
This is a Twitch thing. So basically,
another way to share
Let me see. Yeah.
yourself and make money.
I was playing the songs on Twitch, and for whatever reason, it just felt like when a song was over and nothing happened, like there was no like claps, you couldn't hear anything or whatever. Like people would chat, people would say stuff, and you can like set up little like commands where they can make like clap sounds happen. But I was like, that's inconsistent. And so I just pulled up the first random thing on my keyboard here, and it was a gong sound, and I just hit it, and so it started being a gong. And then eventually people from the community on Twitch got together and bought this little gong and sent it to us. Isn't that sweet?
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's amazing. That's so nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
So there you go.
Ready?
End of interview. That was a very weak way to end the interview.
No, that was so zen.
Oh, she's zen. Never mind. She's trying to be zen here. It's gonna be the.
There you go.
There you go. That's definitely making it on TikTok. All right.